Hello, it's Isabel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I will be working on a layout for the Rainbow Magic Hop. It is a hop that happens once a month, and every month we are given a different color to use for inspiration. The color for the month of February is orange. Last month we did yellow. I'm not gonna lie, the orange, it's a struggle. I mean, I have these beautiful pictures when my mom came home with a bunch of pumpkins, and we were unloading the car, so I snapped a couple of pictures. But, I mean, and they work, right? There's a lot of orange. The only thing is it's a lot of orange. Once I finished, I did complete a layout once already, and I am doing it again because I was not 100% happy with it. If I'm going to do a project and put it inside my scrapbook, I want to be happy with it when I look at it. I don't want to second guess it. I don't want to have mixed feelings on it. So I'm going to do this one again. Hopefully this layout makes me a little bit more happy. What my idea is, I brought in this pear tree cut file and I ended up cutting it a little bit too small. I don't want to waste another 12 by 12 to do another one. So what I think I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see it, but I've penciled it off a little bit. I'm going to kind of pick different sections and cut the border. I'm going to try my best to get them all still laid on the layout. I just want to bring them out more. So the way that this is going to work is I'm literally going to fussy cut each and every single one of these off of the border, and I'm going to lay them on the layout exactly where they're sitting on the cut file. And then what I decided I'm going to do is back the see-through leaves with an orange cardstock, and then I'm going to layer it with some vellum and then put the actual cut file on top of it. This is going to tone down the oranges so that I have different shades going on through the whole layout. So right now all I'm doing is auditioning different cardstocks. Some of them my scraps, some of them my 12 by 12s, just different variations of the oranges. So what I end up deciding on is this orange pattern paper. I'm going to get the cut file adhered to the vellum, and then the vellum adhered to the pattern paper. I'm going to make sure my adhesive is only touching the cut file portion so you don't see the glue in between the layers. Now I'm going to do this to all the open-faced leaves on the cut file, and then I'm also going to bring in another orange, an orange that's closer to the pumpkins in the photos. I'm using this orange basil textured polka dot paper. I'm going to get some textured leaves cut out, and then that way it can add some layers and look more like a pile of leaves as opposed to a flat layer of leaves. Now there are some white spaces in between some of the leaves, so I'm going to bring in some mixed media. I'm bringing in 3 distress oxides, one in crackling campfire, carved pumpkin, and dried marigold. Now normally I would treat my paper with some gesso, which I did, and then apply the distress oxide in some way and then spray the water on it to activate the distress oxide and lift it off the page. But the way that I'm using it today is I'm putting it on my work surface, and then I'm applying the water into it, and I'm using the packaging technique in a sense where I crumble it up in between my fingers, and I just touch it on different sections of the paper. Now the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I want there to still be some white in between all the different blotches of orange. I wanted it to look like smaller versions of leaves behind it. That's kind of what my mind was going with when I was creating. Now the carved pumpkin, it looked more yellow at first, but once everything dries, I can see the different shades of oranges. And I'm going to get my leaves all laid back down, but I realized that the light shade of orange paper that I used, it's kind of, I mean, on camera it doesn't look that bad, but in person it was kind of blending in with that background. So the way that I thought to just make it pop a little bit was to outline with a black marker, and then that gives me just a very thin outline that's sitting on the page that makes this leaf different than the background. And because I cut the cut file originally in a plain cardstock,
There is no texture, there's no dimension on this leaf. So the way that I'm going to bring that in is I'm going to draw the veins out on each of the solid leaves, and then I'm going to hand stitch them. Now this is going to give them a true leaf feel. So in order to make it pop even more, I am going to take the hand stitched leaves and pop them up on some fun foam, along with the smaller bright orange leaves that I stick on. So once I get them all laid out, I still felt like something was missing. Like it really needed some more of the bright orange into it. So I'm going to bring back in that crackling campfire, and I'm going to blend all of the edges just to bring in that pop of orange. And you guys, this background is gorgeous. I absolutely, after I finished creating it, I did not want to use it. But I did. And I was really sad because, you know, as we know, I covered most of it up. But it looks so good. I love the way that this looked. I definitely have to try it again. But anyways, I'm going to back the photos with another orange cardstock. Now I am using a lot of orange, you guys. A lot of different shades so that it's not just a solid orange in your face. Even though my layout is, there's a lot of orange, as you will see as it comes to the end. So what I wanted to do is add a little bit more splattering, but I wanted to make sure that I had an idea of where everything was going to go and how it was going to work. So I get the splattering done, and then I'm going to bring in those leaves and just lay them around the whole layout. Now I am going to lay the pear tree cut file leaves exactly the way they are on the cut file. I wanted to stay true to the cut file even though I cut them off of the border. And then I'm going to bring in some of the brighter orange leaves next to them to create those layers of leaves falling into the page. I did create my own title with the Cricut, and I left this part in so you guys can see a little bit on how I put it together. All I did was I used the lovely floral font on the Cricut Design Space, and I sized it out to what I needed, which was about 4 inches wide is what I was going for. And then I offset the letters so that each individual letter will have its own white background. That way I can come in with the crackling campfire Distress Oxide and ink the edges individually. Once I get that down, you guys, it's the fun part of embellishing. And what I decided to do was bring in my squirrel stamps, and I cut 3 different squirrels out, and I pulled several different oranges out of my color pencil collection, and I am going to color these squirrels all orange. Now the tail will be a dark orange, the body will be a light orange, the acorn will be black and another version of orange. And then I'm going to adhere some vellum on top of each of the colored squirrels to tone down those oranges. And I think it worked out. I mean, I have orange squirrels, but they're not crazy, like popped orange. At least I don't feel like they are. But once I get these squirrels all done and fussy cut out, I'm also going to use some die cut leaves and different color oranges. I have an orange quota, you guys, okay? I'm going to be oranged out after this layout. But I get some other leaves cut out because I kind of want to create clusters with them, with the squirrels. And they're just smaller leaves and they're plain. And I thought I was going to leave them plain, but what I end up doing is I come in with a fine tip black marker and I create veins on them as well. Nothing too crazy, just enough to give them some more detail. And then I'm going to fold up the tips and make them look like they have dimension with the squirrels. Now on the side of my workstation, I have some embellishments that are waiting to be placed onto my layout. I have a Shimmers Paints epoxy flare that has an orange mushroom. I'm going to use that on the top left-hand corner next to the squirrel. And then I'm going to dive into my thickers. The collection is Making Things. It has several different orange pieces on it that I felt like I would be able to utilize on this layout. And I use quite a bit. I'm going to pull in a flower an orange flower that's going to sit on the top right-hand corner. I'm going to bring in some word phrases for each of the clusters. And then there is a This Day orange tab. I'm going to use that for the bottom left-hand corner to create some journaling. But anyways, once I get all these little details on the layout, I bring in my Sizzix Thinlits alpha dyes. That's going to create the word love that'll sit above This Life on the top left-hand corner. So it'll say Love This Life. And I'm going to get all these details on. I'm going to pop some of them on fun foam and then leave some of them down. And there's a lot of dimension. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot going on this layout, you guys. I hope it's not too much. I actually am quite proud of it. It was a lot of work. It took me a couple of days to actually get this one done, especially since I had to, chuck the first one and start all over with a new idea. I really, really love how it turned out. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining me. And please, you guys, if you have time, go down to my description box and check out all my friends. I am sure that there is going to be a lot of fun, interesting, and very inspirational orange layouts. I am all oranged out. You guys are not going to see me with orange for a while, but I do hope that you enjoyed my process. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up. I know there was a lot going on. I didn't want to cut too much out, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be an hour long. But I hope you guys take care and have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye.